Very well done, college algebra prep students. So you now have access to your textbook. So in this video, what I'm going to do is actually walk you around the Pearson interface, getting you used to the buttons that you're going to see and what I'm looking at, what you're looking at. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. And what you're currently looking at is our 114 homepage. Over to the left, I have a link to my math lab. So you'll go click on that. Since it's a separate site from Canvas, you're going to see a new tab button, and it's going to take you over to the Pearson website. You're going to sign in using your username and password that you created when you set up your account. And once you get signed in, you're going to see the courses that you have access to. Of course, I probably have a little bit more going on since I'm the instructor of the class, but what you want to find is our 114 College Algebra Prep class. So once you find it, click on it, all right, and what you will see is your interface, all right, and let me go ahead. Right now you're looking at what I see. Here's what you are going to see, all right. So you're going to see a little bit of a 2-week outlay. You're going to see some dots, and I'll explain all those in a moment. But the first thing I would like to do to make sure we're really set to go is you'll notice that right now we're on a current outlay. Why don't you press on the entire course to date outlay? It's going to change things up a little bit, but on this one, there's some important information you need to do before you start anything else. There's a welcome to my math lab, and right below that, there's a link to a browser check. Let's check your browser to make sure that you have all the things you need so that Pearson's going to work on your computer. I personally use Google Chrome. I think it's the most stable, but if you're using Safari or Explorer or whatever the case might be, you want to press on the browser check button. Another window will pop up and it's going to tell you, if everything is good. I'm getting a message that says you have the current versions of all plugins. There are no necessary, you have everything you need for this course. So I'm good to go. You might get some red flags. You might need to update something. You might need to add in a plugin. You might need to turn off something, pop-ups and all that other good stuff. So depending on what error you get, all right, make sure that your browser is all set to go. And I'm set to go. So let's go back to current. This is normally what you'll see. You kind of see a 2-week outlay of our course. If you see little buttons right here, little circles, those are indication of items that are due on a certain date. So right now we have several things that are due on the 23rd since we're under review. To see that linearly, if you scroll down, you can see all the sections that are currently due. So there's an orientation that I'm out walking you through, a fraction review, a real number system review, adding real number review, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you wanted to start your homework, you can press on the section you want to do there. But I want to show you some more keys. Over to the left, all right, what you will see are lots and lots and lots of buttons. But the ones that you're going to be using is the course home, which we're currently on, a link to the assignments, which shows you everything, not just a limited view like you see here, a link to your grade book, so you can kind of see what your homework percent is, and then a link to the e-text itself. It would be like having a physical copy of the book. There are many other links. For some reason, I can't get rid of them on my end, so you're going to see them. But none of these links that you have there, let me put a big X to them, you're never going to need those. If you want to explore, be my guest, but you don't need those. The big four are course home, assignments, the grade book, and then the e-text if you want to look at the physical copy. So that's what I'm going to walk you through. And currently what I've done is kind of showed you the course home. So let's go to assignments. When you go to the assignments, what you're going to also see is all the assignments that have been done throughout the semester. Since we're only in our first week of review, you're only seeing those 6, all right? But as we get deeper in the semester, you'll see everything. So you have to scroll down for what you want. Again, let me remind you, please do the My Math Lab orientation. That's another walkthrough like I'm giving you here, but it's more interactive where you're pressing buttons and just not watching me press buttons. So make sure you're familiar with it. And so let's just say I want to do some fraction review, right? When you open up that, what you'll see are all the questions that I have in this. In this particular sections, there's 36. On my end, what I try very hard to do is make sure that the homework is going to take you about an hour to do. In this case, 36 questions, what I'm seeing on my interface should take a typical student 1 hour to do. Since you're the student, since you're doing some learning, it might take you twice that time. So it should take you no more than 2 hours to do any one assignment. If it is taking you more than 2 hours, that's a good indication that something is wrong. So you'd better start asking questions. There's something wrong with your foundation. We need to get it fixed. All right. So it should take you no longer than 2 hours to finish anything. So let's dive into this. You can go ahead and start with question one if you want, but I'm going to go ahead. Let's just say we want to do question 11. So I can just jump to it. Let me expand this window. And what you're seeing is what question 11 is all about. So they're asking me to find all the factors of 105. All right. And maybe you need a little bit of help. Maybe you know how to start it. Who knows? All right. But essentially, what a factor is a number that when you multiply it to another number gives you 105. So 1, all right, and 105 are definitely factors at the moment. But, are there more? If you need help, right, if you go down here to the bottom left, there's basically 3 things that you can do for help. So let me show you each one. To help me solve this, we'll take the problem that I'm currently working on, right, finding the factors of 105, and it's going to interactively walk me through this problem. So if I press continue, right, it's going to tell me since n times 1, every number has 2 factors, itself in 1, are there any other factorizations? And I'm going to say yes. All right, check answer. And it's going to say, nice, good work, right? So there are more factors. And then it's going to kind of coach me along. What about 3, right? 3 times what is 105? So we're going to put our thinking caps on. 3 to 10 is 3, carry the 1. I think what we end up getting is 35. All right, so I'm going to press check answer and say, good job. All right, if I was wrong, it would tell me I was wrong. But then it's just going to keep coaching me along. Are there any other factorizations of this? Well, I know 35 breaks down more, so I'm going to say yes. Check answer, right? And then it's going to coach me along and say, yeah, right? What about 5? 5 times something is that? Well, I think 5 goes in there twice. I think it's 21, right? Check answer, and I'm right. Right. And then I know 7 goes into this, right? Because 35 and 21 are divisible by 7. So are there more factorizations? I'm going to say yes. Right. Say good job. Right. And there's the 7. Right. So 7 times what is 105? Right. And I believe that's, what is this? 37 goes into 10 one time. 35, I think 15. Let's try that out. Check answer. And I was right. Right? Are there any other ones? I don't think there are, but let me just go ahead and make a mistake. If I say yes, it's going to tell me, nope, that's not correct. We're done. All right. So what are all our factors? Well, if we go back, right, we know that 1 is a factor. We saw that 3 was a factor. We saw that 5 was a factor. Notice I'm using commas. 7 was a factor, right? 15 was a factor. 21 was a factor, and 105 was a factor, right? I think I listed everything that we see up there. Check answer, and I did, oops, I guess I missed something. I don't know what I missed. Let's see, where did I miss there? We got 1, 3, 35. I missed the 35. Okay, that should be it. All right, so good, nice work. So that's the help me solve this. It interactively coaches you through the problem that you're on. But as a math instructor, here's what I like. Well, look what happens next. When I press close, notice that the problem changed, right? It's no longer asking for the factors of 105. It just did it for me. It's asking for the factors of 66. So I basically have to use what I learned and apply it to a different problem, kind of like what you guys are going to be doing on a test. All right. So nice button. It helps me do the problem I'm on, but it will give you another one to make sure that you are knowledgeable, right, when the problem changes on you. So that's helped me solve it. If I do view an example, let me press that one. What that does is it's kind of similar to the help me solve, but it's not interactive and it does a different number. So we're working on factors of 66. This is asking me to find all the factors of 20. So when I press continue, what it does is something very similar, but rather than interactive with it and where I have to press some things in, as I keep pressing continue, it's basically walking me through, right, all the factorizations of 20. And there they all are. And so after watching that, I should be able to apply that skill set to 66, right? So again, if you can apply what you're learning to new problems, that means you're truly understanding and you're ready for anything, right? So what are the factors of 66? Well, I know that one goes in there, two goes in there, three goes in there. I don't think four or five. Two times 33 and three times 22. I think I exhausted them. If I'm wrong, that's okay. We'll fix it. But I think those are the factorizations of the factors of it. Yeah. So I'm missing some ones, right? But I'm going to go ahead, right, and go ahead and get this one wrong because I want to show you something. So let me leave this, right? What'll happen when I do a problem is notice that the homework set kind of updated itself. And right now it's showing me a red X, indicating that I don't have this question right yet. If I would have gotten it right, you would have seen a green check mark, which is good. All right. But that's basically some of the interface and some of the help. Oops, there was another thing I wanted to show you. I just reminded myself. Got out of there too soon. So I showed you the help me solve it and view an example. There's also get more help. When you press get more help, there's three things that might open. This one has one. Some of these problems actually has a video that Pearson has made to kind of walk you through. There's going to be another instructor who'll kind of talk to you and coach you through. I usually think it's going to be another example. All right. Just like I would do in class. I'm going to give you a bunch of examples. You learn them, you understand the basic concepts, and then you go apply those concepts to different problems on the homework set. Again, kind of like you do for a test. Or you can basically look at the textbook itself. When you press textbook, it's literally going to go to the textbook, the physical copy of it, and find the area that you're working on. We're working so far on 1.3, which is finding some factors. All right. And there you go. Right. So there's the physical copy of the textbook dealing with factors. Right. So you can do that. Or if all else fails, when you do get more help, you can ask my instructor. When you press that, it gets an email sent to me. When you send that email, it's going to tell me the section you're working on, the question you're working on, and it gives you a dialog box to basically, Mr. Rivera, I don't really know why it's keep telling me that three is a factor. Why is three a factor? Or, I'm struggling with it, with this topic in general. What I do with that information is twofold. If many of you are asking the same question, I'll probably start our next class section on that homework problem to clear everybody's up, or I'll talk to you individually and kind of coach you along, or maybe say, hey, let's get on Zoom and talk about this. All righty. So those are all. Let me cancel this. I'm not going to send it. Those are all the self-help me buttons that you have there. And again, help is one of these things that I always a little squeamish about. I like it that it's there, but if you constantly rely on the help me solve this or view an example to get a problem done, again, that's an indication you're probably getting a lot of things right, but you're not going to have that tool for a test. There's not going to be a help me solve this or a view an example on a test. So if you keep having to reach for those buttons to finish the problem, that's also another indication that something is wrong. So be careful with the help tools. But let me go ahead and close this. So I've walked you through the course home. I've walked you through an assignment. All right, let's go check our grades. So if you go to the student grade book, what you're going to see is kind of a summary of all the things we've worked on. So right now I've worked on 1.3. Unfortunately, I didn't get anything correct. So my score is 0 at the moment. It shows you how much time you spent, when you started, when the date worked. I actually see all information and more on my end. But for you, what you'll see is on the top here is you'll see that right now I have a 0%. As per the syllabus, I'm going to take this percent that you have, multiply it by 400 to get your homework score. So that's your Pearson homework score. That'll be a little bit different than your percent for the Canvas course, because your Canvas course percent has everything, your test, everything that you've done, including your homework. So that one might be a little bit lower than your homework or a little bit higher, depending on how things are. But there's two different percents, your homework one and your Canvas one. I use your Pearson one, multiply it by 400, get your homework score on Canvas. So please be aware of that. And then last but not least, there's a link to the e-text. So you can go, we're working in chapter 1, we're working in 1.3, right? I can view the e-text, and you guys actually saw it earlier from that, but it's literally a physical copy of the textbook, so that you can, look at more examples, look at what the textbook would have said. I apologize, my internet's a little slow. All right, but there is that. Yeah, so there you go. So there's basically the 1.3, and if you just kind of keep clicking through, it's literally like reading the textbook for yourself, if you had the textbook. Okay, so let me get out of that. Let me come back to, where was I at? Let me come back. Yeah, go to main menu and go back to your course home. So there's basically, let me view what you guys are viewing, what Pearson looks like on your end. All right. So please make sure you're doing that. Most of this homework, let me stop sharing, is due January 23rd. That also coincides with our first test of the semester. All right. We got to make sure that you have all these review topics down so that you're ready to learn some algebra in our 114 setting. All right. So that's why I test you guys a little bit early. So get on this homework, get things going, right? Ask questions if needed, and keep working through your getting started module. I'll coach you through some more videos coming soon. Talk to you guys later.